Welcome to Tolerance Camp. You are here because you would not accept people's differences. Because you refuse to accept the life choices of your fellow man. Well, those days are now over. Here you will work every hour of every day until you submit to being tolerant of everybody. Here, intolerance will not be tolerated.
What is up, guys? So I went through my movie collection and I've been buying some Blu-rays that for one reason or another have been put on the list and deemed offensive. Also films that were in the Turner Classic Movie conversation thing that they've done. And it's a pretty extensive list of classic films, and these conversations, I feel like they're talking down to the audience and telling people why these films are offensive, and you know, I think people can figure it out on their own. And also films that I think will never be made again because of this new kind of wokeism that's going on in Hollywood, and where these new productions and films will be going. I just don't think these films are ever going to be a part of the movie making industry anymore. So I just want to go through these list of movies, kind of talk about them a little bit, and I'm sure there's other films in my collection that will come up for one reason or another the more this craziness goes on. Also, if there's any reason to collect movies, to collect physical media, this is it. You can watch these movies anytime you like. You don't have to sit through any conversations or listen to other people's opinions about it like with TCM. And you could just watch the movie and have your own opinion about it, and that is a awesome and powerful thing. Audrey Hepburn's 6 movie collection. I'm glad I bought this either way. And Audrey Hepburn, just a classic movie star, gorgeous actress, and a couple of her movies have come up, and I think there's a few of them on here. And I'm just gonna watch these in general, just because it has Audrey Hepburn in it, you know. And the 2 movies I think are Breakfast at Tiffany's. We have Mickey Rooney acting like he is a Japanese guy. And this one, that portrayal has always been controversial as far as I've known. I remember in Dragging the Bruce Lee Story, it was in there, and Bruce Lee was watching the movie and not happy about it, you know, understandably. My Fair Lady, I've never seen. I've seen pieces of it. I have no idea why it's on the cancel culture list, but it's on there. And then we have Funny Face, Roman Holiday, Sabrina, and War and Peace. Sabrina I've seen, War and Peace I've never seen. So there's a bunch of blind buys on here. Nice slip cover. And looks like regular discs right here. I'll definitely check out, I've never seen the whole film Breakfast at Tiffany's, you know, I've just seen pieces of it. Same with My Fair Lady, like I said, so I have no idea what Roman Holiday is about. Definitely check these out. The movie that started all of the controversy, if not Birth of a Nation, Gone with the Wind. And this film was controversial when it first came out and has been controversial ever since. But this was kind of the film that was on the top of the list a couple years ago, and there's been times where this film is expensive to buy and then it kind of drops a little bit and then it comes up again for whatever reason. And I have multiple copies of this, so this is one of them with a nice little slipcover here, Gone with the Wind. Casablanca, for a short period of time there, was on the list. I think they kind of relented on this film, and I'm not sure why it was deemed offensive. It's just a classic film. And it was up there in price for a while and difficult to get, but now it's pretty easy. So, and I don't think it's on the TCM list for problematic films. So, classic movie, Casablanca. The Help. This film came out pretty recently, in the last 10 years, I believe, and I think it was a box office hit. And you know, this past couple years, these movies, for one reason or another, are deemed offensive, and there's some good actresses in this. Emma Stone's in it, Octavia Spencer, Bryce Dallas Howard, Viola Davis. So I haven't seen it yet, and I'm not sure what's going on. I know it's about segregation, so we'll see what this is all about and why people are offended by it. The Help. Tropic Thunder, Robert Downey Jr.'s role. I mean, it's obvious why this film was deemed offensive, and there's no way that a film like this will be made today. It just wouldn't happen. And you know, also castigates Hollywood and makes fun of and demeans these actors that think they're the most important things in the world, and that their role is going to affect the world and humanity as we know it. So excellent, excellent comedy. Grease, classic musical about high schoolers, and you know, a throwback to the 1950s, made in the late 70s, and I think this is you know, been deemed a sexist film, you know, male-dominated film, but you know, and someone asked Olivia Newton-John recently in an interview about controversy over Grease, and she kind of brushed it off her shoulders. So the only musical I could stand to watch through is a very entertaining film, Grease. Good old John Wayne. Triple feature. Searchers is the one that has mainly been targeted because of the depiction of Native Americans, I believe. I haven't seen it, but there's, you know, not really Native Americans in this film. It's people dressed as Native Americans, basically. And then the Wild Bunch I saw a while back, and I thought it was good, and How the West was one. So I'm not sure about the Wild Bunch, but The Searchers definitely on the list as offensive films, and How the West was one as well, I believe. So definitely want to see The Searchers. I heard it's a good classic Western, and John Wayne just owns the screen, you know. He's just one of those great actors that only came around once in a generation. Nice artwork on the discs. Pretty sweet. I think I'm going to check out The Searchers here. That's going to be the first movie I watch out of this bunch. The People vs. Larry Flynt. Great film, and not really on the list, and Larry Flynt recently passed away, and there was just kind of a blurb about it, and that was it. So, but this movie is about free speech and his kind of war between Jerry Falwell, the televangelist in the 1980s when they were popular, and the maker of Hustler magazine. Courtney Love is in this, Woody Harrelson, and I have not seen this movie in a long time, so I can't wait to check it out. Gran Torino, directed by Clint Eastwood, one of my favorite directed Clint Eastwood films, and just an excellent film. Of course, he's old, grumpy, and a bit racist, but his character changes throughout the film, so that's what this film is all about, Gran Torino. Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. This was put on the TCM films of, you know, offensive films that are problematic and need to be talked about. I'm not exactly sure why. I probably should, I guess, watch the conversation they have. I have a feeling it has to do with the main character. There's one scene which I don't want to give away where it's probably controversial. So, but great classic Alfred Hitchcock film, awesome black and white. I'm glad I have it on 4K. This is a blind buy, and it was going pretty quick a while back. It's probably leveled out and available on Amazon, but I got this for like $5.99, and I have no idea why this film is part of the woke mob offensive list, but I'll check it out. I mean, it is titled The Aristocats, and this is probably one of the films that Disney put a disclaimer on or something on the Disney Channel, and you know, pretty pointless if you ask me. But I believe this is classism. I believe this is offensive to people who view the world in terms of class. Anyway, it's a cartoon about cats, and I'll definitely check it out. Lady and the Tramp, continuing with the Disney films, and there's a pretty extensive list. I'm sure I'm missing a few on here. I love this steelbook right here, and probably my favorite Disney film. I used to watch this so much when I was a kid. I mean, look at the, maybe it's the Italian characters in here, stereotypical Italians, who knows, or maybe the way the dogs are, there's kind of a class thing going on with the Lady and the Tramp. Who knows, but anyway, love this movie, classic Disney, give me a break. Aladdin. Disney just did a remake of this with Will Smith, which I actually thought was pretty good, of the live-action films that have been put out by Disney. Not sure about this one either. Maybe Robin Williams' role as the genie, or maybe it's culturally insensitive. I'm not sure, but still great classic Disney film. And Robin Williams' role is just hilarious, I think, in this. So, classic Disney, Peter Pan. Disney Channel put a disclaimer on this one, I think, about cultures and things like that. If you haven't seen the South Park vaccination special, the first part, of the opening scrawl is totally different about, and it's kind of pokes fun at this stuff, but I believe it's offensive culturally, and that's why it was put into question. So haven't seen this film in a while, so I'll have to check it out and see what they're talking about. Peter Pan. Sweet Home Alabama with Reese Witherspoon, just a great romantic comedy, and you know, it's about the South. The father dresses up as a Confederate soldier, blows things up in the backyard. And it's basically about how this main character goes back home and finds her roots in Alabama and turns away from the life she's been living. And it's a good film. Sweet Home Alabama. Next up are comedy films, and I'm really worried about the comedy genre because most comedy is basically always kind of pushing the line and in terms of speech, and a lot of times in order for things to be funny they have to be offensive in some ways. So where Hollywood is going to go with comedies, it's hard to say, but I know these films are probably not going to be really made again. So this is my first Blu-ray. There's Something About Mary. I mean, completely offensive, totally offensive film, and hilarious. So The Girl Next Door is kind of a comedy, but I just don't think they'll make a film like this. It's sexist, you know. And Emile Hirsch is in this, and this came out in the early 2000s. I bought this for cheap as well, but haven't seen it in a long time, so I'll definitely check it out. And you know, an adult film star basically moves next door, and it's about the teenagers or the guy's interest in this person who just moved in next door. And I remember it being funny. It was okay. Pretty good film. Finally upgraded Superbad. This is a 2-disc unrated extended version, and I bought it for $6.99 on Amazon. And you know, just classic comedy, hilarious. And of course McLovin and the trouble they get into just trying to get through the party and all that stuff. And this type of film is just never going to be made again with everything that's going on now. So awesome classic comedy, Superbad. Dodgeball, a true underdog story. Another classic comedy, and great characters in this, especially the Ben Stiller character is just ridiculous and egocentric and all that stuff. But you know, again, this type of film, just they'll just never do it again in Hollywood. So bought this for $5.99, and I'll watch this film all the time. It's just great comedy. Kingpin, another Farrelly Brothers film, like There's Something About Mary, and kind of a forgotten about film, but this film is hilarious just from start to finish. And probably, you know, depiction of the Amish, and these characters are hilarious and offensive. So Kingpin, cannot wait to revisit this. Last time I had a copy of this was VHS. So Wedding Crashers, 2 guys crashing weddings, you know, getting together with a lot of women. It's just not going to happen. They're not going to make a film like this again. Knocked Up, another type of comedy from the early 2000s, mid 2000s that will never be made again. Seth Rogen, Paul Rudd, Katherine Heigl. And this film was kind of controversial to begin with. You know, there was murmurings about how this film was kind of sexist, and Katherine Heigl complained about the director and things like that. They just didn't see eye to eye and butted heads. So, alright guys, that is my list of films that have been targeted, part of the Turner Classic Movie Conversations, or will never be made again. I hope you enjoyed it and weren't offended. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time.